But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, that's on the back of the
You did.
shirt.
A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
That's it. What's up? One day we'll get rid of that damn intro.
No,
I
we
hate
won't.
it so damn much.
No, we won't.
This is the 9x9, the 81 square meters of the best volleyball content on the internet. This is episode 137, give and take a few dozen other ones. December 18th, 2024. Rob, we started the show in 2021. We're about to wrap up essentially our third full season. 22, 23, now 2024. But lot to talk about going on right now
there is
in the world of volleyball. So we're gonna be here and talk some shit. Well, welcome. I'm glad you could be here with us.
That's right. Welcome, boys and girls. Happy holidays in advance.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's have some respect for our viewers.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, volleyball fans of all ages, whatever, however we want to address the beautiful people. Merry Christmas a week early. It's a week from today. We will not be doing a show next week, so get that out of the way. Happy holidays to you all. Hope you all are enjoying the end to your calendar years. I'm Rob, that's Everett, by the way, and we have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
We have a lot to talk about. There's a lot of volleyball news. There's a lot of volleyball matches. There's a lot of volleyball tournaments. None of that is particularly different from what we usually get up to on this very show, but a big couple pieces of news before we jump into recent events.
Yeah,
Everett, I want you to take the lead on this one. Big news from just a couple days ago about your national team.
Yes, we did receive the official news that Stephen Maar will be retiring from the national team, which, Rob, I was expecting him to take the year off. You know, there's quite a few of those guys who have played, you know, leading up to the Olympics, who have played a lot of ball, and you expect them to take the first summer of the Olympics off. But his post seemed that there was quite a bit more finality to it, and basically alluding that we wouldn't see him once again in Team Canada jersey, in a Maple Volleys jersey. So first and foremost, I mean, I want to personally thank Stephen Maar for everything he's done for this team and this country time and time again. He joined this team 12 years ago, in a time when, you know, this team was in a much different spot. And, you know, I'm pretty sure his first summer playing, they won Group 2 of World League. They beat Portugal in the finals. That was back in, I think it was in 2016. So this team has come a long way, and especially the past run of the past 3 years, he put the team fully on his back and proved exactly the player that he is. And it's hard to point to any other player in Canadian history who has done, I think, as much in the way he's done it. I think we have other fantastic players who have given a lot in long periods of time, but Maar willed this team to its third straight Olympic Games. And we saw him in the heat of the battle. We saw him in the heat of the moment. And that was a different man. That was a different beast, right? And I can 100% say with all certainty that this team doesn't get a glimpse of Paris whatsoever, if not for Stephen Maar, right? If you look at where this team was back in 2022 to where they finished in 2024, it is remarkable. So that's why all you losers out there trying to make fun of me that Canada didn't make it out of pools at the Olympics, I don't care, bro. We made it there. And a lot of that has to do to this man here. So, for me, it's a bit of an end to an era. I mean, because I've watched Maar play since he was young, like playing before he was with Crush, when he was with the Aurora Storm. You know, I've told the story of him going, like, tooling the crap out of me when he was 16 and or when he was 15 and I was 17 at Madawaska Volleyball Camp. And, you know, just watching him grow up from, I can honestly say, an immature little shit to being one of the best leaders this country has ever seen has been a special journey. Watching him dominate at the club level once again for both Aurora Storm and then Crush, do what he did at McMaster and leave there to be the most decorated player in the history of that program, and then do what he's done with the national team over the past few summers. It's been an incredible ride to watch, and I'm proud to have got to see at least a bit of an inside peek of him throughout that time. I know that I will for sure miss him. I know this team will miss him. I know the program will miss him. But I also can't fault him whatsoever, and I can't
absolutely
be upset about this decision that he's making, because like I've seen him, right? We've seen him at the end of a Nations League weekend, and to see him lumbering around because he's that in pain and
the wear and tear,
and tear on his body, right? He plays a very, very physical style, and that has broken him down over the years, and it's in his best interest for his career and his body and his life to take the time off. And we've seen guys, I was just watching Gord Perrin ball out for Olympiacos just today, and some of those guys who have retired from the national team and have been able to enjoy life a little bit more. And I 100% think, and I definitely think that Stephen Maar definitely deserves that.
He does.
And yeah, he's one of the greatest ever to do it. You have to put him on an all-time starting six. I don't care about legacy. I don't care about history. All of that stuff. He's one of the greatest to ever wear the jersey.
Couldn't agree more. That is very well said. You put into perfect words just the impact of Stephen Maar on the Canadian national team program. The fact that there's no chance in any universe that they come close to going back to the Olympics this year without him. Completely agree with all that. I've loved getting to know Steve. I've loved seeing him play. I've loved seeing the effort, the passion, the putting the team on his back, the representation of his country. It's all exactly what you would want in an athlete. There's no better way to represent your country than the way that Stephen Maar has done so for Team Canada. So he has a lot to feel good about. He should be very proud of how he wore the maple leaf on his chest for 12-ish years, going to 2 Olympic Games. It's been very fun for me to watch. I've loved watching him, loved getting to know him. Also wanted to thank him for just being so awesome with you and I, Everett. Like our interactions with him in Ottawa every year is something that I really look forward to. He's been an amazing supporter of what we do. He understands why it's important. He's been candid with us. He's given us awesome stories, given us awesome memories, like the jerseys this summer, the Svetan Sokolov story about Olympic qualifiers, like so many unreal moments that we've had with Steve and his family. Of course, tremendous shout out to the entire Maar family for supporting what we do. So we are going to miss him and his family at international events very much. But like you said, I don't blame him even in the slightest. In fact, I completely agree. Of all years to take time off, it was going to be this summer. I think even if he had chosen not to retire fully, it would have been crazy for him not to take this summer off. And then just the situation with Team Canada right now, with I think there's another piece of this that you want to talk about.
That is absolutely another thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah, I think that's the real thing that makes this make sense for Steve to walk away right now, is that the program is completely up in the air. Nobody has a clue who's going to be coaching. Nobody has a clue who's going to be playing. Yeah. The roadmap right now is very uncertain to the point that I think Volleyball Canada is like writing blogs on World of Volley's website trying to advertise the job posting for the head coach of the national team. Like,
yeah, it's not pretty right now for Volleyball Canada. It's not pretty at the moment. And if you're Maar, you started with Hogue, then had Antigua, then back to Hogue, then you had Benjo, and then you went to Semavuo. That's 5 different coaches essentially that you've had, because you can definitely say that the 2 different Hogue eras were different. So that's that's 5 different coaches. And once again, like, this team puts on a lot of miles onto its top players. He played so much last summer, and this isn't a team that is getting all of the benefits, let's say, of the top programs. This is a team that travels in economy. This is a team that goes hard. It's becoming a bad pattern now for our top players to end their careers early. And when you look at the guys who were on that team in the 2010s, a lot of those guys, if we come from a traditional volleyball country, we still have all of our guys, right? It's becoming a bit of an issue now for the men's national team that Gord Perrin is still playing at a high level in Europe, doesn't want to play for the national team. Shawan Vernon Evans is still playing at a high level in Japan, and he's been a top 5 scorer over in Japan now for multiple years, right? Doesn't want to play for the national team. Now we have Stephen Maar, who is still at the top of his game, still going to be getting good contracts in Europe for the foreseeable years, and won't be playing for the national team. And I guarantee you, I absolutely know of other players who will not be playing this summer, who were instrumental in what this team did last year. And
that's
now
going to be the case across the board. To be fair, that
is going to be the case across.
Lots of big name players are going to take the summer of 2025 off, as they should. We run our athletes into the ground in this sport. But I agree with you. Like the number of quality, like world-class players that Canada could field right now that are all under the age of 40 is pretty insane. And it's something that VC has to look at hard and figure out who they're going to hire next, and hope that maybe that person can like convince a Stephen Maar and some other sort of characters to maybe come out of retirement and make a run at LA. I don't think that's totally out of the question, because like you said, he will be at the top of his
question.
He'll still be at the top of his game at that point. It just depends on like who the coach is, and is that something that the veteran players want to be a part of, to be determined. I mean, the qualification situation in North America is easier than most years, but most quads, but there's a lot of moving parts. It starts with the head coaching hire from Volleyball Canada, and just the way that it feels like they're going about that right now doesn't make me feel optimistic.
No, not at all. When I see World of Volley posting the RPF of Volleyball Canada looking for a head coach, and two, if you go into the head coach, it's like it's just like should have strong leadership skills and a good knowledge of our sports system. And it's just kind of like, bro, where are we going to go?
Yeah, like what are we
you already went to the best coach in the country a couple years ago and didn't give him a year to do anything. And by all accounts, you were trying to get him out before he had even coached a match, before he'd even stepped in the gym with any players, right? So what Canadian coach who, because like if we look frankly, very, very few of them have been allowed in, to be at the head coaching level. I mean, or like at that level at all. Mike Hawkins is one of the few guys at the U Sports level who's actually been involved with the national team with any type of regularity, right? So like, where do we go to next? Actually, I do have one thought that actually would be decent. The only person that I think would be able to do it, who understands our culture and is probably looking for a team right now, Lebedeau. That
is Mark Lebedeau.
Yeah, that's the one that I've been thinking of. Otherwise, the only other guy, it's got to be Dan Lewis. Like, if you go to anyone else, I think other than Dan Lewis, you got a pedigree where I think Lebedeau's got to have it. But yeah, Dan Lewis knows the program, knows the guys. Like so many of those guys who are coming up and like this is going to be a youth movement. He's worked with them and been successful with them at the B team level. So I mean, we can another put this another time. It is becoming a bit of an issue now that all of our best players, like somebody said it in the chat, like Graham Vigrass could still be playing.
For
guys
sure.
Who are these guys who are in the mid-30s. I mean, TJ is a big what if because he went down with back issues, right? If you're just, yeah, I don't want to infer too much, but if there's a little bit more support and we're not flying economy at weird hours and doing wild layovers, maybe TJ doesn't ruin his back and maybe he's still here set, I'm just saying that there's a lot of guys who it could be here right now, but yeah, but at the end of the day, sad Steve won't be there, and I really hope to wish him the best, and hope I get a chance to see him, chat with him soon.
100%. Congratulations to Steve. Amazing career. If this is the ultimate final end of it, regardless, he deserves some time off without question for bearing so much weight for his country. So thanks to Steve
But-
for.
But I will be messaging him in 2027. You know, in 2026, I will be messaging him and be like, "So, Steve, how?"
Yeah,
you feeling?
I mean, that's the time.
Look,
That's the time. I
Oh, yeah.
think because the shuffling of the calendar, and this kind of segues into some other things that we can talk about. Sticking in like North American coaching, we can hit this bullet point really quick. We now know who the two main assistant coaches for the United States men are going to be under Karch Karai. Two outstanding hires, in my opinion. One is bringing back Javier Weber, which I absolutely love. We've seen his level of activity the last 2 years under John Speraw, and just his fire, his knowledge of ball at the international level, his relationships with the current players. Absolute slam dunk. I'm so happy that he got whatever contract language in his Japanese coaching contract to be able to even do this. I personally had him high on my list for head coach. So Javier Weber is a slam dunk to me, and so is Luka Slabe. As much as I know about him, I haven't met Luka before, but he was huge for the U.S. women that won gold in Tokyo. And then he's been coaching women's NCAA last couple of years, but he's worked under Karch in the past. So I think that's fantastic. The best part about this, Everett, is that both Karch Karai and Luka Slabe are both full-time U.S. men's national team only. No other job responsibilities. They will not be coaching clubs. They won't be coaching college. They won't be doing anything. Those two guys, men's national team only. That's amazing. That's so good.
I think this is a perfect hire, to be honest. I mean, Karch came out and said it when this was announced, that it was imperative for him to be able to re-sign Weber after he talked with the athletes and talked with Speraw and how he changed things. And it sounds like a lot of those guys really credit Javier Weber for his it being injected into this coaching staff in 2022 and what he's able to provide through the Olympics. So the fact that he's staying on, and it sounds like he's just kind of a mad scientist in a way, the soft-spoken mad scientist who just knows the game at such a particular level. Once again, Karch says that in his press release. He was like, we've been talking, I'm very intrigued. And then, like you said, Slabe was imperative apparently between 2018 and 2021, leading up to that gold medal, winning VNLs, winning gold medals. He's been at NC State since then,
right?
Which having somewhat average results, but ultimately saying it. Also Slovenian too, by the way.
Yeah.
So he does have an international flair, but played at BYU. But basically, Karch was saying that he's the perfect person to go into battle with. So I really like this load of coaches. I'm really going to be interested to see if they keep on Andrea Becker too, who is is that her name, right? The mental performance coach.
Andrew's fantastic.
And I mean, I
hope
I really do, because you never really see that where takes up an actual coaching position on the bench and is in there, was speaking to Speraw. So I know that was maybe more of a Speraw thing. So I'm sure she'll be involved in some way. But yeah, I think this is a great all-around move by USA Volleyball, this one.
Yep, love it. And yeah, the fact that Karch and Luka are both full-time men's only is amazing. That I think is a huge bullet point that's likely to keep a lot of our best athletes really engaged and excited about the program, is that they don't have a lot of their primary leadership doing double duty. I think that's a really big deal. But as a form of a segue, something that I've been reminding American fans of, or trying to preach to American volleyball fans so far since the Olympics and since Karch has been hired, is that we should not expect the prioritization of results until 2027 at the earliest. And I think that goes for really every country in the world, Canada in particular with the new coach, a lot of the other countries that are going to let their best athletes have a year, maybe 2 years off with the restructuring the calendar. I'm not at all worried about American men's or women's results until the 2027 World Championship. That is the first tournament I care about where we place. Until then, I care about the process and who's getting in the mix and how young players are coming together and what sort of things are being built. But I do not care about results until the 2027 World Championship, and neither should other American fans. So I'm going to continue to preach that.
And it's funny.
No, go ahead. I
Do you want
was
to-
about to move to the next.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I just have to add on that because I was actually editing an interview I did with Spra a little while when he's, to have expectations of winning in LA, but it's unrealistic to have those expectations of winning VNL in 2025. And you know what? Like, it's going to take some time with Karch coming in and everything to be new, but it's going to be interesting to watch for sure. I think both of our national teams are two very, very interesting teams in interesting places.
Yeah,
Mine for different reasons.
Yeah, we're gonna see them up close. I mean, both of them get to play at home next summer. They play each other in Chicago in June, which I can't wait for. So, yeah, we'll get into all of that. But there's a reason, Everett, why I said I want to prioritize the 2027 World Championship and not this abomination of a tournament.
But the 2027 one would be like this too.
Yeah, but at least it'll have meaning. It will be an Olympic qualifier. It will have teams that like actually care about the results. The segue here is to the drawing of pools for the 2025 Women's World Championship in Thailand. We already talked about the new format with the men. It's 32 teams, 8 pools of 4. Just a lot of bad volleyball, man. There's just going to be a lot of bad lopsided volleyball. There's going to be a lot of 3-dongs. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be entertaining until like the round of 16, maybe even the round of 8. Plus all the top level athletes that are going to take next summer off. There's very little that excites me about next year's World Championships on both sides.
I mean, once we get on to later stages, it's going to be good. Like that the playoff stages is going to be good. I mean, if I'm looking at my Canadian women down here, Bulgaria, Spain, I actually think that's kind of an interesting pool there, depending on what everyone brings. I mean, talking about what the Canadian men are going to look like, it's going to be interesting to see what the Canadian women look like.
Good point.
There could be some hacks happening over there as well. Who knows? Or maybe Anna Schmreck is going to come and join this team and just be an absolute monster, and we're going to be the next big thing. But
well, I hope.
Yeah,
so.
I mean,
finished at Wisconsin. It's high time to get a maple volley on her shirt for sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a whole other conversation put together. But for some reason, I don't see this being as bad as the men's draw. I don't know why, but I don't think it is.
There's going to be there's really, really bad teams on both sides. There are really, really bad pools on both sides. Like, look at the U.S. Our women play the Czech Republic, Argentina, and Slovenia. That is a horrendous pool. I don't know what we're doing there. You're right. Turkey, Canada, that's decent. China, Dominican Republic, that's decent. Like Serbia, Japan, that's fun. Netherlands, Thailand, Sweden. I don't know. Maybe like Isabel Hawk single-handedly wins that one. Sweden. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that pool, I think, is a big toss-up for me. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't like once again, like Canada's playing Libya in the first round of the men's.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I don't even know how it even happens. Whereas, like, if I look at the bottom of the barrel teams here, like Egypt, Vietnam, Cameroon, like I feel like they all have like a little bit of relevancy.
Do they?
I mean, there's a Vietnamese team at the Club World Championships right now. An Egyptian team. That's about it.
How are they doing? We'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah. So that much more into it. This tournament is happening, and we'll focus more on it when it comes up. Last piece of news before we get into some active volleyball. Women's VNL Finals hosting site was announced. At least the Polish Federation put this out. Volleyball World did not, but
even I didn't. This is news to me.
Yeah, so this, I'm sure, this came out from the Polish Federation yesterday, that the women's VNL finals in late July of 2025 will be in Łódź at the famous Atlas Arena, which is one of the rare, like, consistent and somewhat iconic venues in the sport. We know that the Polish Federation does an unreal job at hosting events, particularly in that arena in Łódź. There's numerous great matches that have happened there internationally. So good job to Poland for stepping up to host an event. I'm excited to see how the crowd shows up on the women's side. And so that
What do you mean good job for Poland is stepping up and host an event? They host all of our
Yeah,
events.
they do, but they,
Yeah.
they do a good job. We don't have that many of those.
Yeah,
So,
no, I'm going to say thank you for
thank you.
Poland.
Yeah,
hosting our-
thank you.
Yeah, because
Appreciate it.
it's it is appreciated. You guys do a good job. It looks good. You have fans in the stand.
Yep.
So
By the way,
yeah.
speaking of Poland and VNL, I was looking at the calendar today, Everett, because the whole match calendar is out. I was looking at like the exact schedule of matches that are in Chicago next June because I hadn't looked at them really until today. Saturday evening, Poland versus USA. Saturday evening.
Ooh.
What I really want to do, Everett, is get like a college game day style live pregame show outside with a live crowd, like big time tailgate party atmosphere, like yelling to the crowd,
yeah,
people
100%.
getting into it, because there will be thousands of Polish people there, and I think that would be the perfect day to like really push the American people to show up and like get there early and tailgate and like have some beers in the parking lot, and like we can yell at them before the match on stage and psych them up. Like I'm thinking like college game day atmosphere for Poland USA that Saturday in Chicago. So that popped into my head. It would be very fun to make that.
Can you gather the people to make that happen?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, because I think I can make it happen in Ottawa too, and in Quebec City actually. Like I think if the powers that be are listening to this,
which
I think
some of them probably are.
We can make that happen.
Yeah,
I could definitely make it happen in Ottawa.
Same.
And I know the people who could make it happen in Quebec City, and I know that you could make it happen in Chicago.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we also play Canada, I think, on that Thursday night in Chicago in June. So yeah, we will be doing as much as possible for those matches. We'll put it that way. So yeah, we don't know where men's VNL finals are yet, but that's the last thing to be decided. The women will play the final in Poland. Cool.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Philippines, because I don't think we see a Philippines on.
That's because they're hosting men's world championship, though. I think all their hosting eggs are in that basket. Because like
then probably Italy.
Yeah, it could be Italy. I would, like I said last week, I would really like to see Brazil. I would really like to see Brazil.
Yeah,
I'm not sure they have. I doubt they have the resources, but I think that would be really.
What
sweet.
do you mean? They have resources to host.
You said last week that they might not have resources to host twice in the summer.
Yeah, and then the Beach Pro Tour schedule came out, and they've committed to hosting three different Elite 16.
You are going to be spending a lot of time in Brazil next summer, my friend.
I mean, we'll have to see. I guess we'll see where my priorities lie.
Yeah, really twist your arm on that one. Eh? All right, let's talk about volleyball. Speaking of Volleyball World FIVB events, we have to talk about the Club World Championships. This is the time of the year when we have no choice but to talk about these events. I got to be honest, Everett, as we start here with the men, legitimate congratulations to Sato Cruzeiro for winning this thing again. The crowd in Uberlandia was like legitimately electric. I was not expecting that, and they beat Trentino in 4 in the final. Trentino played like absolute garbage. They made a million errors. It was not good volleyball on their side. Sato Cruzeiro was the better team, and I think we can talk about some more like macro Club World Championship things for this and the women's tournament. But what my takeaway from watching this final was that like it's pretty amazing what can happen when you give a shit. And it was very clear to me that Sato Cruzeiro cared more about this tournament than anyone else that was there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, there was it was a legitimate like domination by Wallace. Like Wallace was incredible. He had 108 points, I think, on the tournament. He led the tournament in scoring, led the tournament in attacking as well.
22 for 37 with only 3 errors in the final.
Yeah,
like
at 37 years old too. Yeah, at 37 years old too. So you watch that and you kind of be like, would things have been different for Brazil this summer if they had Wallace? Imagine like that would have been a bit of a different story. You know, I don't know if you guys get by them in the quarters. It would be a tough. I mean, to be honest, you probably wouldn't have played them in the quarters, right?
That is more like it. Yeah.
They probably would have done better in their pool. So yeah, it was domination by basically it was Wallace and Lucas and the others. Like you had Rodriguinho and Matus on the left side. Like Douglas was was coming in off the bench and wasn't getting full time. Matus was like kind of the hero coming in with 3 aces in a row at some point. But you're fully right, Rob. This is what happens when you give a shit, right?
Yep.
This is what happens when you show up and you want to play, and it means a lot to these Brazilian clubs to be there. Now, I would love to see a Club World Championships in Europe to see how Sada Cruzeiro would fare.
I would like it to be literally anywhere else. Other than India last year, it has been exclusively in Brazil every single year that I can remember. And I part of me doesn't blame Lube and Trentino for not producing their best ball flying across the world in the middle of the season, like trying to squeeze in SuperLega, like CV matches, and then like randomly fly to Brazil, deal with like what looked like the hottest gym of all time and whatever. There are excuses if Trentino wants them. At the end of the day, they didn't care enough to me, and they did not play well enough at all. The number of errors was absolutely offensive. It was disgusting. They made 39 errors total. They made 21 attacking errors. Only 6 of them were times getting blocked. 15 unforced attacking errors and 19 service errors in 4 sets. That's disgusting. That's so bad. Everybody but Alessandro Micheletto did not have a pulse in this final. Both opposites were terrible. Daniele Lavia was bad. They made a setter change at one point. They missed Jan Kozamernik real bad. Him being out leads to this like revolving door at the second middle blocker position. Like Trentino was bad. If they want to make excuses for it, fine. But Sada Cruzeiro cared more and was better than them.
Yeah, and then too, as it's being pointed out in the chat here, is that you can definitely blame it a little bit on jet lag and stuff like that. But alternatively, you have the Iranian teams who came in and
cared more. They cared so much more.
Cared more and have to deal with more jet lag.
Yep.
And were able to like honestly, like Fulad was really good throughout. Like they deserved, like they showed up and they played.
They beat Lube twice. They beat him 3-2 for bronze in addition to the pool play game.
Yeah. So just it sucks because this event could be really good. Like it could be a marquee event if it was done properly. And it does feel sometimes like it's just kind of thrown together. And it just like, how do we get the teams to care about it a little bit more? You know?
Great question. I've kind of like, I don't know if I went into super detail last week. This tournament does not need to be played every year. I think a big way to get teams to care about it a little more is to not play it every year.
It would be interesting. I've thought about this. If it would be interesting if you load it up. You know, you only play every few years, but you invite champions from
exactly
like you only play it every 2 years, but you invite the championships from those 2 years. And if it's the same champions in general, then you go to like, you know, the second place. And,
yeah.
You know,
I think that would be awesome. And then it would just, you know, better star power, better motivation, better volleyball, better production, better media buzz, like all of it. We don't need to play this tournament every year. I don't like playing it in Brazil every single year, but whatever. Sada Cruzeiro cared the most and they won. So for whatever this tournament is worth, they clearly value it highly and they deserve to win it this particular time.
Yeah, they were the best team all the way through. Once again, they beat Trentino in pool play, and then they beat him again in the finals.
They beat Trentino's bench in pool play, to be fair. Trentino played the bench because they were already into the playoffs.
And the bench was better in pool play than the starters were in the finals.
They kind of were. Yeah, that was a very bad Trentino performance, and I've got some actual kind of concerns about that team just generally.
On your end, it was actually a pretty good event for Gabby Garcia.
Yeah, it was
because the rest of Trentino was so garbage. Gabby Garcia actually got some playing time, and he's continued to look good this season playing for Trentino. So that's a positive thing for American fans.
Yep, I was excited about that. Enough about that tournament. The Women's Club World Championship is going on right now. There have been 8 matches so far. All 8 of them have been 3-dongs. None of them have been remotely entertaining or interesting, except for this one here on the screen. Malonza gets 3-donged by Tianjin. like not even the best team in China.
Yeah, that's what, like, some of us were talking before the tournament, and we were like, are we going to see an Asian team, do anything and make a run? And, our Asia correspondent MJ was just like, I don't know, Tianjin isn't having the best season. They're not looking like the best. But once again, you see what happens when you care.
When you give a shit. Yeah.
And like, let's be honest, when we're talking about Monza, if there's a team that has been prone to just not giving a shit and not showing up, it is Malonza, right?
Dude, it's been bad. It's a couple weeks in a row now of head scratching, bad, like not getting off the bus losses. I mean, they got stomped by Corneliano in that big sellout. Then they get stomped 3-0 by Vakifbank in Champions League. And now they get stomped 3-0 by a Chinese team with literally one player. It's Li Yingying. She is a monster. She is a top 5 outside hitter on the planet. But you have Paula Egonu on your team. You have a bunch of Olympic gold medalists that like won the biggest tournament in all of volleyball less than 6 months ago. Like, you have to be better than this. You have to be better than this. Yeah. And it's starting to become a real pattern. Like I was saying last week, like enough time has passed since Paula Egonu has come back that there's no excuses for her being rusty anymore, or at least they're running out. Alessia Oro is back. That needs to be better. Miriam Silla needs to be better. Nika Daldrop needs to be better. Stefano Lavarini, who coaches his team, needs to prepare them better, needs to make them give a shit somehow, some way. You can't be getting 3-donged by a Chinese team when you think you're a contender to win the things that you do prioritize back in Europe.
Yeah, I do think that I don't think Egonu is 100% healthy yet. Right. I don't think that there's rust, but I do think that, like she's still working back into her form. And then also, I think that there's a lack of giving a fuck after winning an Olympic championship. Like you win an Olympic title, that your team is going to be good. That your team is going to be relevant in February. Right. And that's like if I'm Egonu, I'm probably coasting until at least February.
On a human side, I totally get that.
Yeah,
I totally get that. So that is the job of the coach. If you are going to spend all this money and waste all this time flying up to the other side of the world to play the Club World Championship in China, you might as well show up and give a shit. That's kind of my thing about the men too. Like, if you don't prioritize the Club World Championship, I don't blame you. Then just don't go. Zaxa wrote the book on that. They got the invite after winning their first Champions League, and they're just like, we don't care about this enough to prioritize it. It's not worth any of our expenses. It's not worth the travel. It's not worth the effort. And they just didn't go. If you're not going to care, don't go. Nobody's making you go to this tournament.
Yeah. See, the thing is, though, is that like the players don't have the choice. Right.
The organization has the choice.
Yeah, the organization does. But like, as we know, like if you show up and the organization is going to decide whether or not you're going to play.
Yeah. So that to me is the coach needs to make the players give a shit. If you're there and you're playing a game, the players are human beings, whatever. I understand. Olympic gold hangover. I get it. I honestly do. I would not care about the Club World Championship if I had just won Olympic gold. If you're the coach, if you're Stefano Lavarini, who is well regarded, you cannot allow your team to display that level of effort and get 3-donged by a Chinese team.
Well, then at that point, you just need to go with someone else, right? Like if your top players aren't getting you there, then you need to go with your other options, right? You need to go with other players who are going to try. But because ultimately, like realistically, Lavarini can't make Egonu play better. She's higher up on the totem pole than he is.
That's definitely true.
Right? Like it's not like he can go to the owners of Malonza and be like, I want you to get rid of Egonu.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Right. So yeah, I just think it's one of the reasons why this event could be better, but isn't great.
Egonu's numbers in this match: 18 for 48 with 11 errors. First of all, 48 attempts is ridiculous. 11 errors is even more ridiculous. 22 errors total for Malonza in 3 sets is just so bad. It's just giving so many points away for free. Li Yingying much better, 19 for 44 with 6 errors, a block and 2 aces for 22 points. So and people are talking about like how high is Li in world outside hitter rankings. I would put her at 3rd, and I think I've put her at 3rd for a long time now. I think it's Gabi, I think it's Irina Fedorovtseva, and I think it's Li Yingying in that order. But I didn't watch this game. I will not subject myself to watching this game. I will not do it. Nothing anybody can say will make me watch this game. I assume, based on the scoreline and the feedback from the Discord, that Tianjin just cared more than Malonza did.
Yeah, once again, they're playing at home. Right.
Meanwhile, Corneliano is obviously 6-0 in sets and is going to win this tournament. Like, breaking news. They're there. They well, I shouldn't speculate how much they care. They're just so good and they're so well coached.
But they're also so deep.
They're really, really
like,
deep.
They're running their
Martina Vukasik, like
they're going to a bench lineup of Naomi Seki setting, and then you have Martina Lukashik and Kalia Lanier on the left side.
That is
right? Like
a well-built team and a good organization.
100%. And you have if Isabel Hawk isn't one of the freshest players in volleyball right now, then I don't know what's happening over there, because she's been doing nothing all summer. I'm sure that she's been training and stuff like that, but she hasn't had to compete at a VNL. She hasn't had to compete at an Olympic Games, right? She came in relatively fresh, right? So she can take those times now. But yeah, Conigliano is a fantastic organization from top to bottom, and that's why they win fucking everything. Everything
They win. There's not a tournament this calendar year that they have failed to win. And this Club World Championship will finish this weekend, and I expect them to win. I think it would be ridiculous if they didn't. So we will cover it whenever it ends, I guess. But again, it's the Club World Championship, whatever. Let's move on, Everett, if you're okay with that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Champions League, because it was happening today. It's like kind of fresh in our minds. Men's week 4 is going on. We talked about most of women's week 4 last week. There were a couple games last Thursday, but none of them had any consequence. This was not a particularly invigorating day of Champions League. We had a lot of dongs.
There was some interesting things, like Chaumont was like really, like the end of the Chaumont JW match was really, really interesting.
Yeah, that was the best game. I feel bad for Chaumont not having stolen a point there. They kind of pissed that one away.
Also, another team that pissed something away, Levski Sofia, was up like 19-11 on Loomberg
in the second. I have no idea how they blew that set,
and then just absolutely out of nowhere just blew it up. So that was a lot of fun.
Same thing with Innsbruck. I actually like Innsbruck. I feel bad for them because it's now twice they've played Milano and have completely thrown chances in the garbage to win sets. Like, they really should have won set 2. They really should have won set 3. Like, they weren't mentally prepared to make the plays in those overtimes to beat a team that was better than them, even though they were right there.
Yeah, no, it was as you said, I think it was a little bit more interesting of a day of Champions League than you give it credit to, Rob. But once again, I was expecting a little bit more. I was hoping a little bit more out of the Berlin Mosaic match too.
I wasn't. I was stunned that Mosaic took a set.
Dude, Mosaic is a good program.
They're a second-tier Belgian team.
No, they're a first-tier Belgian team. Like, Mosaic has a long storied history at the Champions League.
Yes, I understand that. Roeselare is better than them, and we're talking about Belgium.
Yeah, but no, it's like they have 2 clubs that they put, like, they Mosaic has a good roster, and they push Roeselare. Yeah, they do. Cody Kessel.
There's a reason why Cody Kessel is in Mosaic now, not at Berlin, where he's been the last 5 years not getting a lot of playing time. I love Cody, but the facts are the facts. Berlin won the first set 25-12.
Yeah,
I was surprised that Mosaic took one. Halkbank looked good today. Well, they made set 2 more interesting than it needed to be. That is a hallmark of this Halkbank team, but at least they didn't let Budiovice hang around for super long. I wish Gieson would have played a little better. Definitely wish Chaumont would have played a little better. Wish Roeselare would have played a little better. But
like Bot is just leaving things on the table here, and I don't think they're going to be getting Ingapeth fast enough.
That pool sucks. Monza, Olympiacos, Fenerbahce is a brutal pool. Pool's so bad. I mean, Monza beat Fener in 4 yesterday. It got full points. That match was not good. Yeah, man. We have Perugia versus Saint Nazaire tomorrow. Then that'll do it. The picture of who's making it out of these pools is starting to be pretty clear. It'll definitely be Warszawa, Berlin in Pool A. Definitely be Xavierci Milano in Pool C. Definitely be Perugia, Halkbank in Pool D. Definitely be, almost certainly be JW and Lundberg in Pool E, because Chaumont has blown so many chances to win games. And then Pool B is just bad up and down.
Because we only have 2 more matches left of pool play, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I watched like at least a piece of basically every game today, and other than like bunch of overtimes, all of them which were won by the favorite, by the better team.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like in years past there was a little bit more intrigue coming into this point.
Oh my God, is that true?
Yeah, they definitely do. They only have 3 wins in the Italian
That's
league.
disgusting. Monza 4-0 with 10 points in Champions League. Monza is 3-9 with 7 points in the SuperLega. They're in second to last, and they just got donged by Grottazzolina, which we'll talk about in a minute. Actually, let's talk about it now. I don't have anything more about Champions League to talk about. Let's talk about SuperLega. There were only 4 games because Trentino and Lube were both in Brazil. Grottazzolina donged Monza. Like, in what world? In what world is that acceptable?
Once again, like, I don't think Eric Rohr and Luca Martilla and Zaitsev and Wantarena, like, together amongst the 4 of them, you have maybe 1 player. You know, like, that is bad. I feel really bad for my boy Arthur Schwartz, because he's in the thick of it. But yeah, it's been a tough watch to watch this Monza team, especially everything that they did last year. And
you
like,
just got beat by, you allowed Dusan Petkovic to drop 18 points on high efficiency. You let Dusan Petkovic go 16 for 31 with only 4 errors. Well, you blocked him 4 times. You made no unforced errors.
That is wild.
That's unacceptable.
That's not unacceptable. That's Dusan Petkovic. that's a 1 out of 5 match for Dusan Petkovic, right?
Oh,
like that explains it a little bit more, right? When you look at some of the best scoring seasons of all time, like just points per set, Dusan Petkovic is up there. Like, he has one of the top 5 seasons in SuperLega history
in terms of pure volume scoring. Yes.
Yeah.
Screw all those advanced analytics, those technical things like being efficient and not hitting the ball out of bounds.
He's always going to score points.
Yep.
Right. He has the entire spectrum of possibilities.
Sure
right.
Does.
He has the appeal. He's like, the most of the times he's going to score a lot of points, and on a rare occasion he's going to score a lot of points and make it
for the other team.
Sometimes it's going to be really good, and then sometimes he's going to be really, really bad. So this was just a really, really good one on top of Monza being dog shit.
Yeah, Monza's terrible. Arthur hit negative. That was bad. I don't know why Ibrahim Lawani didn't play. Their reception numbers are just awful. I mean, they got aced 9 times in 3 sets. They're making Cachopa run around and chase balls down, and that's the worst possible setter for that. It's just really bad. It's really, really bad. Monza is 3-9. They're behind Toronto and Padova, and they're playing in Champions League. What are we doing? They're in 11th.
Yeah.
God. Not good. Speaking of dongs, Milano donged Toronto. No surprise there. Ferry Ragers is a beast. We'll talk about this later on in the show. We're going to unveil our community's mid-season awards for all the different club leagues. I think there's a little bit of bias in who was named the second best opposite in the SuperLega the first half of the year, because it was not Ferry Ragers, and I disagree. And we can talk about the numbers of that a little bit later on. But yeah, Milano is better than Toronto. This is no surprise. Toronto has absolutely no weapons. They have no opposite. They have no reception, they just don't really have much.
Perugia, though, which five-setter do you want to talk about here?
The Perugia one was the most impactful. Great match. Perugia beats Verona in 5. The big piece of news coming out of here is that Donovan Javoronic is done for the year. This is really, really bad for Verona. Yeah, he tweaked his knee. It's severe enough that it'll keep him out for the rest of the season. So I expect Verona. I mean, I assume that Francesco Sani is going to start in the meantime, which I like. I do like the kid, but that's certainly not going to fix any of Verona's reception problems. I wouldn't be surprised if they hit the transfer market midseason to try and get someone in there, because this is a team that can actually do some damage in the postseason, especially with the way that Amori Keita's playing right now. Although Perugia did a pretty good job of bottling him up in this game.
Yeah, they really they kept him under 20, which has been really hard to do. I think this is only the second match all season. He's been kept under 20.
And under 20 in 5 sets.
Yeah, exactly. That's massive. And
11
errors, 100%.
Rock Mozic was awesome. 26 on 23 for 40 with only 4 errors. That's tremendous. So you get that out of system scoring from somewhere. But losing Zavoronic really, really hurts. I think it was in the second set of that match that he went down. Sani came in and hung in there in reception. His numbers are okay. He like passed the eye test in the middle of the game, but Perugia was better. And Ole Plotnitsky, speaking of all midseason awards,
that dude has been
awesome
this year.
Team with some good outside hitter options, and Ole, man, yeah, his numbers are unreal. I'll pull him up later on when we discuss it, like on the season. But in this match, 27 points, 17 for 35 attacking, 4 blocks, and 6 aces. 6 aces. Dude is on one.
Yeah, that is his serve right now is just he just hits the ball so fast. I love his exchange. I love how he pops the ball. Like, it's such a natural contact, and it just looks so good. He's so on one. That is a wild stat line.
Amazing stat line.
Plotnitsky, like getting it done all over the court. Love that.
And yeah, they didn't even need that match out of Ishikawa and Semeniuk combined. Semeniuk real quiet the whole game. Just didn't get the ball that much, and Ishikawa actually started the 5th. Went 4 for 7 with no errors. Bentara looked pretty good. 10 aces to 18 errors for Perugia is outstanding. I know Verona's bad at reception, but that's how you beat them. You just bully them. You try and steal those immediate break points. And
they got 6 of their errors on D'Amico. Like, you're targeting the libero. That's just why, like,
yuck.
This Verona team is a car that has a really, really good engine and just a terrible chassis. Like the suspension and the brakes and everything around it is terrible. It's like you almost got like an F1 engine in like a Ford Fiat, and it's old and crappy.
Pretty good analogy. I can definitely live with that. Yeah, it's a bummer for Verona because they have one just all-world offensive player in the way that Keita's playing, and then we know how good Rock Mozic can be, but they just have such a clearly defined ceiling upon their success this season and how bad they are in reception. Like, they just are not good enough to beat Perugia and Trentino and the likes of those teams. I think they could beat anyone else in a 5-match series, but certainly not those two. So yeah, huge bummer for Donovan Javoronic. Our best wishes to him, but he's out for the year, and I'm curious to see what Verona does to replace it, but potentially replace him off the transfer market.
I'm very, very interested to see what Verona does, considering some of the rumors floating around about what they're going to be doing for next year. Like,
some big ones.
There's some big ones, and yeah, that is like, could you imagine Micah Christensen playing for a team where passing isn't a premium? Like, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
Last but not least, Modena and Piacenza went to the wire. Pretty good 5-setter there. Paul Buchegger has been putting up some pretty nice numbers. I think he's like 3rd in the league in scoring through the midpoint. Now the efficiency is not great. Modena's went to 5 a bunch of times, but he was pretty solid. Vlad Daviskiba off the bench was pretty solid. And then my absolute hero, Daddy Stankovic off the bench, 2 for 3 with 2 blocks. Love to see it. But Piacenza did win the game. Yuri Romano was horrendous. Bo Valenta came in and was automatic. 13 for 17 with one error only, a block and 2 aces in like 2.5 sets. So that is very encouraging for Piacenza and Italy both. Maar, very good. Galassi, terrific, 15 points in the middle.
Galassi has low-key been really fantastic this year. Like Galassi low-key, if we were to do a first team and second team all-star, I don't know if he makes it, but I think he's like the first guy off.
Yeah.
Like I think he was a top 5 middle this past year in the world.
Yeah, I'll buy that. Obviously a starter on the national team. He was good on Monza last year when they made that great run. Also, shout out to Galassi, man. I mean, he was a great interview. I got to talk to him this summer. Super friendly, great guy. And he also just got his doctorate degree like this week. I saw on Instagram, which was pretty crazy. So congrats to him. Yeah, 15 points in the middle is pretty nice. 13 for 16.
Yeah, I mean, this is another this one. The only reason it went this long to me was DeCecco. What I was seeing, like you're really maximizing Papu Buchegger out there.
Yeah.
Buchegger's scoring 22. He went 18 for 28 with a block and 3 aces. The serving for Mo was already 9 aces and 22 errors.
Yeah, actually not terrible serving from either team. And Everett, I will say, if we're going to give him a hard time when he plays like trash, which is basically always, Uroš Kovacevic was serviceable in this game.
Okay, serviceable. Nice.
11 for 21 with 3 errors and like respectable reception. So I don't know if you're going to get that consistently, but we got to give him credit when he does play a little bit well. Yeah, shout out to Bo Valenta. That was a big performance off the bench. I think it won him the match.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely it did. 13 for 17 with only 1 error. That is really nice.
Awesome.
Plus 3 extracurriculars with a block and 2 aces. Yum. I'm all about that.
Extracurriculars. I like that. Huh? Extracurricular points, blocks and aces. Okay.
Yeah. Usually
memory hold that one.
Usually extracurriculars is like going to the sin bin in hockey, but
yeah, it's usually fighting people.
Exactly.
That's how I've heard it before. All right. You want to go to stay in Italy and talk about the only women's match that I thought was interesting this week?
Yeah, absolutely, because there was nothing going on except for this match, Rob. Except for this match with a bunch of teams off for the Club World Championships. Novara and Scandici going toe-to-toe. And this is, again, Scandici really sits on the opposite line that they're a team that can be pushed by, or can push the best teams. They push the Coniglianos and the Malonzas, but it can also get pushed by the teams just beneath them. And I thought this was a really good matchup.
Yeah, fun one. It was I think I was about to say the best that Novara has played this year. I actually will say that it was the best Novara has played this year. It was by far the most balanced Novara has played this year. Look at their numbers, dude. All 5 attackers in double digits. Alsmeyer and Ishikawa at the left sides, 38 combined. 20 for Alsmeyer, 18 for Ishikawa. That's fantastic. Both middles, Bonifacio and Alexic, 12 and 14. And then 21 from Tolok on the right side. Like that's really solid production just across the board. It must have been a good match from Francesca Bosio setting the ball. So good work for them. They also had 9 aces, which is 9 aces to 12 errors. It's a big number in the women's game. So all around looks like a very solid match for Novara, and Scandici got 20 from Antropova on crazy volume and actually pretty good numbers from Mingardi on the left side, which to me makes no sense at all. But it wasn't enough.
It definitely makes sense to me. Like Mingardi, I love her too.
Mingardi she's play. An opposite.
Yeah, I know, but she's an opposite. But like you don't have arms on the like out there, and you also have the issues is what what's his face, not Anastasi, Antigua, right? This is Antigua had the issues right at the beginning.
That's right.
You have some of the best players in the world, but you can't play them, right? Because you can't play a Karabajama because like you need to respect the foreigner rule, right? So you need to have an Italian left side out there if you want to be able to play Brenda Castillo, because this team has been poorly put together year after damn year.
Yeah, dude, it's a total broken record. So much so, actually, that a very good middle blocker in Indy Bayens, who starts for the Netherlands, actually left the team this week and got picked up by Firenze because she can actually play there. It's also amazing because Scandici and Firenze are right next to each other. So she probably doesn't even have to move apartments. Must be nice. So she now gets to play for a team where she can see the floor, because there's no way Scandici can afford a foreigner spot on a middle when they have a foreign setter, a foreign libero, and their only decent outside hitter options are foreigners that they are just like, and then they have a foreign middle blocker in Anna Carolina that they're playing all the time too. Just a mess. So I feel bad for Katarina Antropova. However, this was not her best game. Certainly not statistically. 18 for 56 with 7 errors. It's probably 18-ish% efficiency off the top of my head. Not stellar.
I mean, it's not, but it's just one of those, like, Antropova has been taking arguably she has been taking the most volume
for sure
in the league this
year.
year.
And she's been incredible.
She has been incredible. Like, to me, she's been the player of the year in the Lega Volleyball Femminile.
That's an interesting take.
I think this is like what she's been able to do so far this year for Scandici on the regular. Like, she's the top scorer, hands down.
She is. Actually, our community awards do agree with that. They did give Antropova the midseason MVP, and I guess, like, if you're truly talking most valuable, like most important to her team, I think it's probably not even close.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, she is the most valuable to her team right now, especially once again because she is an Italian, right? Like, she cannot come off the court for Scandici, or else
nor should she, because she is awesome. But yeah, great job, Novara. This was clearly a very good performance. They're definitely the 4th best team in the league, as they pretty typically are, but it's nice to see them punch above their weight class a little bit.
Yeah, it is. Good for you.
Good for you. Good
actually,
job,
I know. I actually really like the way that they've been growing. That they're playing Ishikawa and Lena Alsmeyer on the left side like that, and I think that Bonifacio has been doing a really, really good job. Just you've been some chat with Bonifacio is better than Alessia Oro, and
you're thinking Bocio the setter. Bonifacio is the middle, who has also been
sorry,
but
yes, I was looking. I meant Bocio, but I was looking at Bonifacio on the stats right now. I apologize, but but I'm talking about Bocio. I mean, I really liked her at Gary last year. I think she was I think that's one of the big things that Gary's missing this year, not having Bocio setting. But yeah, it would be interesting. I'm lukewarm on Alessia Oro. I'm lukewarm on Alessia Oro.
I think she's one of the best setters on the planet, who is both coming off of injury and also very much hungover from Olympic gold, and I don't really blame her. Her highs are much higher than any other Italian setter, but that's not really what Malone's is getting right now.
No.
All right. Before we move on, a couple things to hit. First of all, if you want to watch all the volleyball that we're talking about, you need a subscription to VBTV. It's not an option. You need it. And when you pick that up, you should use our promo code. It's VS10. VS10. There's a link in the description if you need it, but we can save you some money, 10% off.
Yeah, I mean, there's little doubt that it is the best platform to watch volleyball on the planet right now.
Oh, it's not. It's not even competitive.
It's not even competitive. So, go out and get yourself a subscription to VBTV, because there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. We got Beach Pro Tour. The schedule was just announced today. That's going to be getting kicked off in March in Mexico, which should be fun. Italian League, Polish League. You might hear some familiar voices over there at some point soon.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see if our past transgressions keep us from.
We will see about that.
But head over to VBTV and use the code VS10. And then while you're at it, head over to our comment section right after this video and participate in the one, the only, the luscious Where's Daddy? And Rob, were you You had a photo that you were going to share.
Oh yes, I'm ready. I'm ready to show the photo.
Is this when this is happening? Or
Yes.
like there's been multiple moments now where I thought this photo was going to come up.
Don't worry, we're gonna tie it all together. We're gonna tie it all together.
Okay, we'll see.
To talk about the Where's Daddy segment, for those of you who somehow are not aware of who this beautiful man is, you got to keep an eye out for Daddy Stankovic, because I like to hide him somewhere in the show. And when you find him and you comment the timestamp of where he shows up, you get a shout out. So last week, as we were talking about the NCAA, Everett, did you catch this one in real time? I thought this is a decent Photoshop job.
No, I didn't catch this one in real time. So much so that I can't. Oh, there he is in the
sixth of the NCAA Sweet 16.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not catch that one.
So I always have a good time of photoshopping Daddy Stankovic in somewhere. Last week he was in the NCAA Sweet 16 graphic here. Matt Buffum found him right away, said rooting for either Wisconsin or Daddy to win the Natty this year. Awesome.
Love that. Yeah, that was a good one. I did not see that at all.
Thank you. Anthony Lee says, oh, Daddy is chasing the American dream now.
Might as well.
Yeah, might as well. So, however, I will say that this week, instead of hiding Daddy Stankovic somewhere, I'm just going to come flat out and show you something that was sent to me last week. This is maybe the greatest photo ever taken that I've ever received. This is Stephen Maar, Stephen Maar's mom and dad, a Canadian flag, and Daddy Stankovic after the Modena Piacenza game. Shout out to Jill. Jill Maar sent me this photo afterwards. We were talking about Steve's retirement from Team Canada. I gave her my congratulations for him. And then out of nowhere, she sent me this photo and made fun of me for not liking mashed potatoes. So this is
oh, you know what? Because
incredible.
Because here's the deal: is that I would, if it was Ottawa, it might be, but I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Mr. and Mrs. Maar at VNL this year. And we know
I would like to officially, right here on the record, invite Mr. and Mrs. Maar down to Chicago.
Oh, I would like
them to come to my city. I will take them out to dinner. I don't think that's the least that we can do. We could buy them dinner and thank them for being fans of the show and being supporters of ours. It would be fun to have them in my city. We do play Canada during that week, so if the Maar family is looking for something to do, come down to Chicago in late June. But yeah, this is one of the best photos I've ever received. If you all recall, Steve Maar there on the left is responsible for this jersey that's behind me. Sorry, I need to just put this up right there. There it is. That's the Daddy jersey that is from Steve Maar himself. There he is with Daddy. Jill also said to pass along Daddy's greetings to you and I, Everett, both.
Amazing.
So,
I since I'm feeling left out, this is the jersey that Maar got.
That is a good one too, dude. That is such a good one.
It is really nice. It is amongst my best jerseys, I will have to say.
This Modena jersey will never be topped for my best jersey, and I've got a couple now. But this is a really good one.
You do.
I've got a Matt Anderson Modena jersey, courtesy of Tommy Blizzard. That was an amazing gift as well.
Tommy Blizzard. I'm probably coming to Bologna in January, so be ready for a fun time. But I will say that there's been a few times now where people have gotten you gifts, and the jersey, like that, people have gotten both you and I gifts, and the jerseys that you have gotten have always been better. Like you got what was it? An Eric Shoji jersey from.
Well, I have not received that jersey. If that is still happening, I'm very much looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
Which one was promised to you? What's on?
Well, so I got mine, but I got a Dylan Mortensen jersey, which, like, you know what? Dylan Mortensen is my boy, good old Sask boy, but I mean, he doesn't even play for Canada. He played for like a few junior. So it was a really random get. So here's the thing is that I will never ask for a player's jersey. That's not entirely true. Eric Lepke, I want a Lepke Lube jersey. I've never asked you for anything. I've known you since you're 15. Give me a fucking Lepke Lube jersey, okay? I'm gonna clip that out and send that to him. But I will never ask for a jersey like I just did. But if you ever want to give me one of your jerseys, it would be more than cherished.
Same. Here's the thing too, is as hopefully sometime down the line we will be able to put a lot more resources to the production of the various shows that Everett and I do together. Part of that will be the backdrop of what is behind us in those potential hypothetical shows. And volleyball jerseys will be prominently displayed if and when we have them. So if you want to give us anything particularly cool that you want displayed for history in front of a lot of people in the very near future, we are open to receiving any ideas that you all have.
Yeah,
throw that out there, including an Eric Lepke Lube jersey. But yeah, shout out to the Maar family for sending me this photo, and shout out to Daddy Stankovic, who is my hero. So he is not hidden anywhere this week. I'll spoil that for y'all, but there he is. There he is right there.
beautiful.
Can't Photoshop it any better than the real thing.
No, definitely not. Okay. Moving on, Mr. St. Clair.
Poland?
You wanna? Yeah, let's head over to Poland.
Let's do it.
Where we had some upsets. Like, we had some big matchups, we had some good matchups, and we had some upsets going down in good old Poland. And the PlusLiga continues to be one of the most intriguing leagues in volleyball. And this past we saw a banger between Zawiecki and Lublin.
Awesome game.
Awesome match. Definitely want to talk about that one. We saw Straw and Olsztyn with a really good five set or two. That's two teams. One team trying to stay relevant, another team trying to get back and get themselves out of relegation. Suwałki taking down Norvid. I know they don't have Quinn Isaacson, but they still have the best player maybe in the world right in this moment, Patrick Indra. And then Barkum Lviv taking down JW.
What a match that was. Yeah, dude. I mean, look at this. There were 8 regular season games played this week for the 16 PlusLiga teams. 5 of them went 5. Of those 5 setters, 15-12, 15-12, 15-13, 17-15, 18-16. Like, you can't tell me right now that the PlusLiga is not the most compelling league in volleyball. I don't think it's close. I have so much more fun. I'm so much more invested because the results are so unpredictable and because so many teams are good. And there were some bangers this week for sure. And there are a lot of consequences in the standings. I think Lublin Zawiercie is the right place to start because those are the 2 best teams that played. And this was a banger. What was this? Saturday morning? Sunday morning? Sunday morning. Saturday morning, my bad. Yeah. Zawiercie Lublin. Yeah. Saturday morning, our time. My boy, Aaron Russell. I mean, I know there have been some very good players in the PlusLiga so far this season, but the fact that Aaron Russell is not included on the midseason awards list is a bit of highway robbery. 23 points.
He was really good. Like, it was most of Butryn throughout the first 3.5 sets, and then in that 4th set, Aaron Russell really started to turn on, and he was fantastic in the 5th as well. He was named to the team of the week for his troubles. So big shout out to big Aaron Russell. But yeah, that was a really good win and a really good match between 2 of the top teams in the PlusLiga.
Yep. Great serving from Zawiercie, which is not surprising. They're a gnarly serving team. 10 aces to 24 errors in 5 sets. Pretty good output. 5 for Karol Butryn. That is awesome. 5 of his 22 points came from the service line. Good supporting performance from Bartosz Kwolek as well. Just a solid team performance on the Zawiercie side, a team that I really like. And then for Lublin, honestly, just watching the game and statistically, it was an exhibition of just how good Wilfredo Leon still is and how single-handedly he can keep you in a game. Don't ever talk about the fall, the decline, Wilfredo Leon being washed up or anything of that nature. Just look at what the dude is doing this year.
That's why, you know what, like as we're wrapping up this year, and I know that his regular season of Lega Volley last year was pretty bad. But if you remember the semifinals and the finals, Leon started to start having some results. He was pretty good this summer in the VNL, and then he led the Olympics in scoring.
It was amazing
for Poland. And then he stepped off, and he's, started this fantastic run here with Lublin. And everyone was thinking, like, you have a washed Leon. How are they going to be able to do? But Leon is the top scorer in the PlusLiga. Or no, he's one of the top scorers of the PlusLiga this year. Like, he is one of the best players, hands down.
He did it on 57% efficiency in this game against one of the best teams in the league. 22 points, 20 for 33 attacking, 1 error only. That's 57% efficiency, which is crazy. 2 aces. He's just playing on an insane level right now, and nobody else on Lublin is really doing much. I mean, Mateusz Malinowski came off the bench at opposite, like the lefty who I kind of like, and dropped 11 on not great efficiency numbers. Like, Leon is doing this kind of solo. And we like the way this team is built. I mean, they should, I think, be getting a little more out of the middle positions than they are. I mean, 16 points combined for Finn and Grozanoff in 5 sets. Like, I'd like to see a little bit more there. But just a good reminder that if you have Wilfredo Leon on your roster, you have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging 4.58 points per set right now, which is good enough for 7th in the Plus Liga. He's the second best scorer or server in the Plus Liga as well. But I think you're right. I think this team is starting to be caught up with, and when they first started playing and they were going on that magical run, whatever, they started like 6-0 or something, more than that even.
Might have been 8-0.
Yeah,
they were real hot earlier.
8 or closer to 9. But it just seemed like everyone was doing what they needed to be doing. You know, and Haas was doing a great job, and Benny Tweenstra was doing a great job, and Kevin Sasek was doing a great job. And now it just seems that those weaker links are starting to cool off a little bit, and other teams are starting to figure them out. And that's really what it has been for Lublin, is that Leon can only bring you so far when the rest of what is around you isn't quite at that quality.
Definitely true. I think the ability to scout now that we're getting deeper in the season makes a lot of difference in that. Like, there's a lot more data, there's a lot more film on who Lublin is, and there's a lot more capability for teams with great players, but also great scouting resources to attack Lublin's little weaknesses. I think Tweenstra is a big one. I think Kevin Sasak as well. And you're starting to see that show up. I mean, they started 8-0, now they're 11-5, still 4th in the league, 32 points. It's a damn good season. Definitely not quite the nuclear start that we saw a few months ago.
No, not quite that nuclear start, but man, the top 6 is just a lot of fun right now.
It's sick, dude. It's really good. Xavier Che is a no doubt contender to win the league. If that's not pretty darn clear, I think it was in this match. That team is really, really good. Yeah. You know who else I'm really impressed by, Everett, and in both the Plus Liga and in the Champions League, is Warszawa.
Yeah, I mean,
Warszawa is really good. They took care of Zox this week. This is actually the least competitive match of the week, because as someone in the chat pointed out, Gdansk versus Kuprum, that's a 3-0, but look at those set scores, 25-23, 33-31, 27-25. But Warszawa versus Zoxa was a clinic. This is a 3-dong, and it wasn't really super close. Warszawa was pretty automatic.
Warszawa is starting to be a club to me that is very, very interesting, because they make the right moves. And when you look at this team composition here, you know, you don't have any of those quote unquote like top level players. And I'm sure that their budget is quite a bit smaller than, you know.
You have Kochanovsky. He's the one.
Kochanovsky is that one gold chip starter for the Polish national team.
Yeah.
Right. And then you have Kevin Tilly, who's like first off the bench for France. You know, Yuri Semeniuk down the middle. Arthur Schaupuk, who's done a fantastic job and really just raised up his stock. Actually led them in plus minus in this one at a +9. Wow. But like Jan Furley, Kochanovsky, and then you have what is, in my opinion, probably the best opposite duo in the league, right? Where Bolange has been fantastic, really like came onto the scene last year and has really impressed a lot of people. But then also Linus Weber has quietly been one of the been one of the highest athletes in points per set this year, right? Because he's not playing that much, but when he's coming off the bench, he's maximizing his time and being really, really good. Like, this is a really, really good team. Wyszczek as well as at the libero spot. You know, they don't have some of those big names, but they're super, super steady, and I really enjoy watching them play. They play a really just simple and nice style of volleyball. And you know what, they all have their roles, they all do their roles, they support each other well, and they care. And caring means a lot. That's what Rosovia is not sitting in.
That's a fantastic assessment. I think that you nailed all the things that I like about Warszawa. I think their ceiling's very high. I also like Tobias Brand as a third outside hitter. I think that's pretty solid. And then Andre Vrona as a third middle blocker is super solid. You got really good options across the board, and I really like Jan Fierle a lot. So shout out to Warszawa. This was a good match for them. Not a particularly good match for Zaksa. Bartosz Kurek hit 0. That was not great. Didn't get a lot out of the middle. Didn't get, Igor Grabelny was by far Zaksa's best player against his former team. 12 points on 12 for 21 attacking, 2 errors. That's really good. Zaxa just lacks the firepower to routinely compete with the Varshavas of the league this year. They're a great organization. Andrea Gianni has done a really good job coaching them this year. At the end of the day, they can steal a match here and there, but in like a long playoff series, I don't see them going past like the round of 8 in the Bundesliga playoffs unless they make a pretty serious move midseason.
Yeah, no, they no doubt Zaxa needs to do something in midseason to be able to stay relevant at the upper echelon, right? Like even talking about like the Lublins and the Norvids, like that's kind of where like it. Like on paper, I would almost even say that Skra has a better team. No, maybe that as I say I say it loud. I'm like, no, that's stupid.
I think that Zaxa is a high floor, low ceiling team to me. They don't play down to inferior competition. They are well organized. They're well operated, but they just don't have the horses this year to contend in that top 4 with those teams, you know, JW, Warsaw, Zawiercie, Lublin, in whatever order, that do have those horses that Zaxa used to have, but they don't have them anymore.
Yeah, I mean, Zaxa is a big way of the reason they have those horses. They develop them all.
That's right.
Slivka, Marek, Semeniuk
in particular. Yeah, man.
Janusz, like all of those guys were developed in that program, and so now they have to do it again.
Yep. Speaking of contenders, JW, a very embarrassing loss to Barkom Lviv this week in 5. That was not good at all. I will say that JW started the bench in this game. So they started the bench in the first 2 sets. They lost those first 2 sets. They made some changes to try and rescue it. They got it back to 5, and they couldn't quite push it over the finish line. Łukasz Kaczmarek did start the first 3 sets, and he was horrendous. So that hurts. But you didn't start Benjamin Toniuti. You didn't start Norbert Huber. You didn't start... Who else did you bring off the bench? I guess you brought in Timothy Carl and did like a 3 outside hitter thing towards the end. I have no idea what's happening here. Luciano Vicentin was good. 25 points on 44% efficiency is awesome. Who played opposite in the last set? What is going on here? It looks like Carl. Did Carl play opposite in sets 4 and 5? This is weird. Yeah, Peter says yes.
He may have.
That's very strange. So, I mean, this happens sometimes. You're a good team. You think you can play the bench. You don't get away with it. But I don't know if this will be enough to save Barkom Lviv's season. They've just got too much work to do to get out. Well, I mean, they're only a point behind Stalnissa right now. So you never know. Yeah. But no matter what, no matter who you put out there, JW, you can't be losing to this team. This shouldn't happen.
But we've seen so many random losses this year already. Like, I think every single major team has a loss to a lesser team.
Yeah, but not a relegation team. Like, nobody in the contender conversation is losing to Benzin, Katowice, or Barkom. Like, that's not.
Who did Katowice beat someone? Remember, who did they beat earlier this year? Why can't I remember this?
Katowice is dead last in the league. Their wins are over Benzin this week and Barkom. Like, that's it. Their only 2 wins are against terrible teams. So Katowice is beating nobody. Maybe Benzin stole a game a long time ago. I don't remember, but if you're JW, you cannot lose to Barkom Lviv under any circumstances.
Well, they did.
They sure did. They sure did. Looks like Skra and Olsztyn put together a banger. I didn't watch any of that game.
I watched a little bit of it, but not. It was on the background as I was doing work, and there's no commentator on it, so I didn't really get any sense of what was happening.
Looks like 24 points for Miran Kujundžić. That's nice. And a 30-28 fourth set. So it looks like Kujundžić was good. It looks like Amin got the yank. Oh my God, no way. Jan Hadrava 28. I don't believe it. That's crazy. Yeah, that's extremely damning for Skra to allow that to happen. You can't be doing that. He had 3 blocks. What are we doing? Nico Scherzen 20, Moritz Karlitzek 21. Yeah, Kujundžić 24. That's a nice game. Oh wait, Everett, you'll never guess. How did Olsztyn lose the match? What happened on match point to give Skra the game 17-15 in the fifth? You'll never guess.
Oh wait, scoring 8 points. Java made an error.
Yeah, he got stuff blocked to lose the match. Yeah. Where have I heard that one before?
Yeah, it doesn't scoring 28 doesn't do it for you.
Just scored 29. I'm kidding. Obviously, I'm being overly hard on him for the sake of the memes.
All right. Do we have any other VOLLEYDAY matches that we've watched? I don't have any more that
I mean,
watched
Suwałki beat Norvid 18-16 in the fifth, but I did not watch that game, so I don't.
No, I didn't watch there, unfortunately.
I'm gonna look at some numbers really quick, see if anything jumps out to me. Bartosz Filipiak is having a huge year. He dropped 29 on the right side. And then Milad Abadipur 25, Patrick Indra 31, another 30-pointer for Indra in a losing effort.
Indra's been more than fantastic this year.
By far the best opposite in the league.
Yeah.
Probably the best player, to be honest.
Yeah, like he's leading in MVPs. He's got six MVPs. Filipiak is set 5. Only, interestingly enough, is third with 4, tied with Fornell and Amin. But yeah, when you're looking at scoring, like Patrick Indra is scoring a point more than Filipiak per set. Like he's scoring 5.6. Filipiak is at 4.6.
Whoa.
So he's head over heels been the best scorer so far in the VOLLEYDAY, and it's like not even close. I'm looking through some of the other ones, like Buchrin, who hasn't played, obviously has much, is swinging at a 4.73, but still nowhere close to what Indra has been doing it. And Indra's been doing consistent now with a couple of like 2 different setters. So
good point.
Very impressive.
Yeah, Peter says this is the best game of the week. I'm bummed that I didn't get to catch it. It was on Sunday. That's Sunday I was watching. This was right when I think the Club World Championship final was on. So I think I was watching that, and I was watching women's NCAA in addition to the NFL. So I was pretty busy that day. Norvid, even without Quinn Isaacson, is still an electric watch because you never know if they're going to beat somebody better than them or if they're going to lose to somebody beneath them in the standing. I mean, Suwałki's not bad. Losing him in 5 is not a terrible loss, but they do make for very interesting volleyball. I like that. I like being
interesting volleyball around. All right, time to move on here. We have SV League on here, but there's nothing really going on right now in the SV League. It's just the Emperor's Cup.
Okay. Yeah, these results are from the previous week.
Yeah, SV League isn't happening right now. It's the Emperor's Cup going on right now, which I believe is basically like a big tournament that lesser teams, like high school teams and university teams, play up to getting a chance to play. Like, and then they play like the lesser semi-pro teams, and then eventually it's kind of like their version of the cup.
Okay, gotcha.
In Japan. So
yeah, my bad. I didn't see the dates correctly. Yeah, these matches are outdated at this point.
And then Sutener Ligi, Exacha Basha with a 3-1 win over Vakifbank. That's all I know about it. That's really all I know about it. When you look at Vakifbank's roster this year, though, this is not quite at the same. Exacha Basha has Retke and Plemmer over there, though.
So Plummer hasn't played yet. Catherine Bowden, as she is now named. She hasn't played yet. But Dana Retke was good in this game, as you can see there, being by far the tallest player in the photo. It's nice to see Exacha Basha put a game like this together, because to me, over the past several years, the only thing I think about when I think about Exacha Basha is that they can't win the big one. They just can't win the big one. They can get decently far. They can get to a league final, they can get to a cup final, they can get to like a Champions League semifinal, and they just can't win the big one. So Vakifbank has been very good recently with the just superstar performances that Marina Markova has been putting up. But she was very bad in this game, 7 points on 0% efficiency and got the yank. Kira Van Rijk was low efficiency as well, despite the volume. And Exacha Basha was balanced. I mean, you had a good Boskovic game, 16 from Hande Baladin, which is very good from her, 17 from Yaprak Erkek, who I know very little about. She's another Turkish outside hitter. Her numbers are incredible, 16 for 23 with 2 errors. That's amazing. So credit to her. And then 20 combined between the 2 middles, Sinead Jack and Dana Retke. So nice. Good job, Exacha Basha. You put it together and you beat a good team.
Love it. I've watched
all I
no
saw,
Student
though.
Art- yeah, I've watched no Student Art League this year, so I have no concept of what.
Yeah.
any
So our Turkish fans who are very passionate, but they've been complaining about us not covering the FLLR and Sultan Leagues very much on the show. Which is worse, y'all? Like, pick your poison. Do you want us to talk about matches that we haven't watched, or do you want us to just skip them? Because like I didn't watch this game. I'm reading a stat sheet. It's difficult because they're not on VBTV. Most of their YouTube streams are geo blocked. Like, it's tough. We have a lot of volleyball to watch, and this is not as high on my list. So we're gonna
I feel
hit
like
the bullet points at most, and that's kind of about it until the playoffs. Like, you're just kind of gonna have to deal with it.
in past years, I feel like I've always watched Sultan League more in the second half of the season.
Same.
So don't get your panties in too much of a knot.
Yeah, relax.
We're gonna-
Relax. It's
Yeah.
December. Chill out. There's a lot of volleyball going on. I'm definitely interested when Plummer gets in the mix more, and then when Arina Fedorovtseva gets back from China. I think the league like increases in intrigue for me in a big way.
Yeah. Agreed.
I think the only two things we have left to cover are, other than our mid-season awards, is NCAA Everett.
Yeah, like
we got to spend some time here.
100%. I think that right now this has been the best year of NCAA volleyball ever.
Well, the viewership numbers on ESPN certainly prove that out. They're insane.
I mean, the viewership numbers this year, ESPN was saying that on average, and this was throughout the season, on average, women's volleyball matches were averaging over like 120,000. And that was the average viewership on ESPN, which is crazy. When you're looking at the regional round, basically they doubled across the board the viewership from last year to this year in the regional finals. You're seeing records being set on literally every single platform for the finals, and we are undoubtedly going to be seeing the best ever viewed NCAA finals of all time right now. And then the way that it's all been setting up to, with all the number one seeds, the 4 undisputed best teams in the nation making it in. And yes, we can have a full-on chat about that women's volleyball as much as the hype is there, and it is a fantastic product. It's not quite there in terms of having like the randomness that can really
the parity.
Like you have the same 10-ish programs doing the bulk of the work, and then everyone else being decent year in, year out, but still Penn State, Nebraska, Pittsburgh, Louisville, it's going to be unreal. Let's start. You want to start with the first semifinal there, Penn State, Nebraska, because this is like, it's basically, you've got the ACC, or is it it's Big Ten against
Penn State and Nebraska are both Big Ten. Pitt, Louisville are both ACC. So they both played. They both played this regular season, which I love. Nebraska. I'll spoil it right now. It's going to be Nebraska Pittsburgh in the final. I would be stunned if it wasn't. I think Nebraska is substantially better than Penn State. I think that Pitt is substantially better than Louisville.
I'm pretty sure Penn State beat Nebraska in the last matchup of the season.
They might have, like that. That's possible in a regular season game, but now that one will be neutral site. Penn State, Nebraska. Pitt, Louisville is not neutral site. Like, the Final Four is going down in Louisville, so that to me is Louisville's only chance to slow down a Pitt team with Olivia Babcock, who personally is my favorite player in the NCAA. I think she is absolutely insane. She dropped 30 plus against Oregon in the Sweet 16. I think she has the highest ceiling internationally. I just love her game a lot. I don't think there's any way Louisville can slow her down. But Nebraska, to me, is so much more skilled and balanced. Balance is the key versus Penn State. I liked Penn State playing at home in the regionals. The Marquette game, the 5-setter, was good. But other than Jess Merzick, who I really like on the left side, I think they're a little bit one-dimensional. And this, to me, feels like a matchup where Nebraska's defense, which is unbelievable, locks into another level, and they dig a million balls, and they hold Penn State to like under 100 efficiency as a team. I can see them digging so many balls and just ripping from all areas of the court, like Murray, Landfair, Beeson, the middles. I foresee a dig to transition game that just feels suffocating from Nebraska.
I mean, that's kind of where they maximize their play. They're actually, they're a really good serving team, but it doesn't show up in the traditional numbers because they don't make a lot of errors, right? They make almost no errors, but this year in the Big Ten, they were the second worst team in terms of service aces. They don't get a lot of aces, but they do put you into a lot of problems. And
That's good because their backcourt defense is so good.
yeah, I would kind of push back on saying that like Jess Merzick is really the only thing. I've really liked freshman Izzy Stark this year. I think Cameron Hanna,
National Freshman of the Year at the
freshman of
position.
the year, exactly as for Izzy Stark, and I really like Cameron Hanna too. And like once again, like Penn State did beat Nebraska. It was at home, 3-1 in the last match of the season, and that's why they shared that Big Ten title. So it's going to come down to this: why I think Nebraska will win, and I do agree with you, but I don't think it's going to be as easy as you think. I think that Penn State has also Penn State had a really emotional season, right? With their head coach
just going to bring that up,
going through cancer and coming back the way that she does, like. That gives you that something extra that you're playing for, that bond that just bonds that team a little bit more together. That just makes you play that little extra. So
that's
I think
a great point. Katie Schumacher-Cawley is the coach's name of Penn State. Tremendous credit to her for the strength shown to go through cancer treatment, still coach her team to a Final Four. It's really unbelievable. It's one of the best. It's by far the best story in the whole tournament. One of the best stories I've heard in sports in a long time.
You're definitely going to hear it a lot tomorrow night on the broadcast. But at the same time, like this Nebraska team is a team that majoritarily knows how to go all the way, and they know how to go all the way and what it feels like to lose. Right?
They sure did that last year.
So, and I saw a video of Harper Murray being asked in the press conference after last year's loss of being like, how much does this motivate you for next year? And she doesn't even answer. She just stares at the guy. She just stares there. And like, you can tell that like she wants to say something and she's just holding herself back. So yeah, I think that you've got one team who, if you're playing for one team in volleyball, if you feel like you're destined to win every single year, it has to be Nebraska, right? With how much support you get, they sell out. They've been selling out their home stadium for like 18 years or something. Like they have the best
5-digit number of attendees every single game. It's unbelievable. It's amazing.
So yeah, if there's one team that feels like they should win it every single year, it is Nebraska. But if there's one team that has that belief and has like an angel on their back in some ways right now, it's Penn State. So I think this matchup is going to be fan-fucking-tabulous, and I cannot wait for it.
I like that. You definitely talked me into the storyline piece of it because, yeah, the story with the Penn State coach is unbelievable. And if there is a thing that can will them past Nebraska, I think that could definitely do it. I do think that Nebraska is better, and I have a lot of faith in their defense. Lexi Rodriguez is a finalist for National Player of the Year at libero. At the libero position. I've never seen that before. And she could win it.
Yeah, so this is where this Nebraska team, when you look down, like, sure, Merritt Beeson is fantastic. Riley Bergen is a really, really good setter. Taylor Landfair, like Andy Jackson, like Harper Murray. The list goes on and on. Lexi Rodriguez there's a reason that she's the nominee for Player of the Year. I know Emily Amon has been on record multiple times saying that she thinks that she's been the best player in the NCAA this year. Which has been absolutely massive. But the reason that Nebraska is just so damn fucking good is that they don't have one all-star. They don't have one superstar, but they have 8 all-stars.
That's right.
So,
yep. Now they got a lot of gnarly defenders. They got a lot of gnarly offensive options. They've got back row options in every rotation, which I really like in a women's NCAA team. That's typically pretty rare, especially with all the substitutions. So, I'm very high on Nebraska's chances to beat Penn State. And kind of similarly, I'm very high on Pitt's chances to beat Louisville. I like Louisville. They kicked the shit out of my Purdue Boilermakers in the Sweet 16. That game was not even close.
No.
I do want to bring Purdue into a kind of larger conversation in a minute, but I like Anna DeBeer a lot. Her arm is lightning fast. I don't love the matchup against Pitt. Pitt is really big. They are really physical. Olivia Babcock is the best opposite in the country. She's also one of the best blockers in the country. I like Pitt's blocking matchup, and I like their back row attack, like legitimately threatening options anytime they dig a ball from anywhere on the floor.
Yeah, I mean,
Louisville home crowd, though. That'll help.
Yeah, that will definitely help, and it's going to have to help them a lot. I mean, Babcock's going to be going to League One right after this. So like just kind of show like there's other girls who have been drafted to the PVF, which like we can say it right now, the PVF is a lesser league than League One, even though
Talent-wise,
even though they
definitely.
haven't talent wise, even though they haven't played anything yet, which is League One starts up like anytime, yeah, and anytime. But yeah, I think like Babcock has been so damn good. Also, like coming into the end of the year, Louisville lost their last two matches against Pittsburgh and Stanford. They did get it back against Stanford by beating them in the regional finals. But this Louisville team has been the least decisive team out of all the teams in Final Four. Like even if you go back to that, even if you go back to that, what was it? The second round scare against Northern Iowa. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
They were down
honestly kind of should have lost that game.
They kind of should have lost that game. It is a little bit of a miracle that they're here. So yeah, I think that this one, they're both going to be really fucking fantastic to watch, and I'm super stoked for them.
Yep, both of them tomorrow night, Thursday night. It's I think 7:30 Eastern. Sorry, 6:30 Eastern is Pitt Louisville. 9 p.m. Eastern is Penn State Nebraska. And then the final will be on Saturday. I'm very much looking forward to watching all those games. I have two takes kind of about the women's tournament overall, as like the like looking back at the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, and almost all of which were really good games. One is, I think I had the same complaint as last year. I don't think it's good for the competitive balance of the tournament to give the number one seeds home court advantage the whole time. I think that the fact that we have all four number one seeds in the Final Four, every single year we have at least two, more often three of the number one seeds in the Final Four. Obviously, they're number one seeds for a reason. They're the best teams. I think that for the parity of the tournament, giving number one seeds home court advantage is a bad thing for the parity of the tournament.
But once again, this isn't basketball. Like, we're not at that level now where you're going to get promoters who are going to apply to host those regional matchups, right? Because that's ultimately what you're going to need. And even in some of these like big college stadiums that do love volleyball, that the first semifinal of the day wasn't that attended, right? So you do absolutely, like, I don't think volleyball can do it at this level that basketball say that can do it, because you just aren't going to have the interest there for those regional rounds, right? Like, you're not going to get butts, you're not going to get butts in seats, other than the rare big teams who Nebraska's fans will travel, or Wisconsin's fans will travel, but not everyone else.
So I'm thinking, like, rather than like make them literal home games, I mean, have Omaha host a regional every year and put Nebraska there. Like, that's not a home game, but it's close enough. Have, I don't know, Houston is a good volleyball city, or Houston or Dallas are good volleyball cities. Indianapolis is a pretty good volleyball city. Like, a bunch of cities in Ohio could host it. A bunch of cities in California could host it. Like, sure, maybe the resources aren't there yet, but for the sake of the parity of the tournament, I would like to see the regionals be neutral site. The initial rounds, like the rounds of 16 and 32, I totally get it. I agree with putting those on campuses of the higher seeded team, but I'm just a little bit over seeing all these one seeds get through every single year. I would like to see a little bit more chaos. Maybe that's the way to do it. The other thing, Everett, is now that all but 4 teams have their seasons over, it's transfer portal season, and we're starting now for the first time to see very legitimate effects of name, image, and likeness, NIL, the ability to pretty much straight up pay collegiate athletes start to make a huge difference. It's going to make the rich richer in college volleyball real quick, because there are a very select few teams that have the ability to throw 6-figure money at a women's college volleyball athlete. The ones that can are gonna. And if you have a good player from anywhere in the country, Purdue is a great example. Obviously, I went to Purdue. I'm intimately aware of this, but Purdue has 3 starters in the transfer portal, one of whom is a hometown girl, Chloe Chicoine from Lafayette. Another whom is Eva Hudson, a second-team All-American. Both of those players have eligibility left. Both of them are in the transfer portal. The only reason that is the case is because of name, image, and likeness money. That has nothing to do with volleyball. That has everything to do with absolutely, unquestionably. I've talked to a bunch of NCAA coaches. I know this for a fact. There is very serious money being thrown around at those top 6 or so programs right now in women's college volleyball. It's going to make the rich richer and the poor much, much poorer. The lack of parity is only going to get worse as there is very real money being thrown around at the top. That is happening. 100% that's happening.
I will point out, though, I think I fully agree, but just to play devil's advocate, is that you do have a lot of internationals coming in. And like, if you look at someone like Michelle Parra, example from TCU, who's from Mexico, or Anna Schreck
Melanie
from
Parra,
Wisconsin.
she was
Sorry,
unbelievable for TCU. Amazing.
Melanie Parra, you're right. I apologize. You know, there's others from kind of all over. They can't receive NIL. So I think that's where your international recruiting is going to have to be really, really, really good if you're not going to be able to run with it with the NIL.
True. There are workarounds for international NIL, but it's definitely not as direct. And I mean, the NCAA right now is just a total free-for-all Wild West situation. There's no regulations about it at all. Like it's tough out there right now. It's gonna be very chaotic.
But also too, like, you also have to look at it by all metrics right now. Like regular season college volleyball matches do better ratings than regular season college basketball matches.
That is not true. But
it's
the third most popular sport in this country in the NCAA, and that's awesome.
That article that I sent you, it literally talks about it. Or maybe it was not that article. There's another article that I read that or like this year when college basketball and college volleyball have gone up at the same time, the numbers for college volleyball have been better on ESPN.
So at the exact same time, that's very skewed because you're talking about the very end of volleyball season and the very beginning of college basketball season.
But even when they're looking at the average from last year's regular season games to this year's average regular season games, volleyball's
the growth is
not growth. The overall average of watchers. When it comes to tournament time, it's different. Obviously, NCAA March Madness is another level of interest. I mean, I don't think I've ever sat down on a regular season college basketball game. You definitely have.
Oh, sure.
You, yeah, especially with Purdue, right?
Yeah, I watch Purdue in like occasional big games. I'm not the biggest basketball fan, but I definitely watch Purdue.
You're just a Purdue fan. But what I'm trying to say here is that like the benefit to give that money to volleyball is increasing more and more.
I agree.
Like every school, almost every school this year, like you're seeing it coast to coast setting records. School filling the 5,000, like 5 digits. You know, it was really funny at one point this year because Milano was like freaking out because they hit like 12,000 people, and I forget where it happened, and I was at one of my beach events, like. The regular day in the Big Ten.
Yeah, Nebraska does that every game.
Nebraska does every game. Like, you know, like that's why I definitely think Volleyball World should have a presence at the tournament, but we don't.
I agree with that as well. Yeah, we'll keep
just to say that I think that we're going to see more schools starting to pay. Like maybe right now it's just those top 6 schools that are starting to pay out for NIL, but I think we're going to start to see way more.
Everybody's paying out. I should make that clear. Everybody's paying out a little bit. It's about the ones that are paying out a lot. That I think is where the difference lies right now. But some of these teams that can pay out a lot produce damn good volleyball teams, and this product, what Everett often calls the best product in all of volleyball. These last 3 matches, 2 tomorrow, 1 on Saturday for women's NCAA, are going to be very, very good, and you must watch them. Especially Saturday. Saturday is a must watch.
Do you have any interest in doing a watch along for one of these?
I couldn't do it tomorrow. I could maybe do it on Saturday.
It's the games on Sunday.
Oh, it's on Sunday?
Yeah, it's on Sunday afternoon. Which is
that's a terrible choice. You're at that point.
You're going to be in the air going to Seattle at that time. So.
Oh, for the final, then that'll be man. I'm surprised that they are going up on Sunday. I mean, I guess American sports wise, you have both NFL and college football playoff on Saturday, and you have NFL on Sunday, so there's not really a great time. But volleyball fans, no matter what you're watching, you at least have this game on. You need to watch it.
Okay, do you want to move on to our mid-season awards here,
Yeah,
Rob?
yeah.
I'm looking
Last but
for-
not least is the mid-season
I'm,
awards.
I'm looking at this and I'm already seeing some mistakes. So, admin there and all of you other fucks who did this, so what's going on? Simon Hirsch is not Canadian. Why does he have a Canadian flag next to his name?
He's German, isn't he?
Guys, he's German. Like, I know we have from everywhere.
I can
I'm
fix that.
changing it right now. I'm already on it.
So yeah, I don't have this on screen, but there's a link in the description of the video to the Volleyball Source Community Mid-Season Club Awards. I also just put it in the live chat, so give this a look. I'm not going to go down. We're not going to go down everything. We're not going to
There's
go
no
down
way.
every list, but we very much appreciate those of you in the community who weighed in on this. We got a lot of leagues covered: Italy, Poland, Japan, Turkey, France, and Germany on the men's side. Italy, Turkey, Japan, Poland on the women's side. So thank you for those of you all who watch a lot more of those leagues than we do, have put together a lot of stuff on those leagues. We have the first and second team, all league teams for midseason. So that's 14 players total. Then we have a bunch of superlatives: MVP, most improved, best newcomer, best coach, best young player, comeback player, best transfer, worst transfer, best match, season defining moment, and the Stoogery Awards, which I always look forward to. So definitely go ahead.
I think we can talk about a few of our like favorite things here.
Definitely.
I think looking at the MVP category, for the inside, Keita for the SuperLega, Indra for the SuperLega, Lopez for the SV League, Patrick for the Everett League, Amir Tizi Oualou.
Yeah, he's this. So I've seen him. Yeah, he's been the setter on the French youth teams that have done unbelievable the past few years. I watched him play for Tokwang against Lublin in Challenge Cup, and he's young. He's going to be really, really good. He looks really good. I think he's like 19. He's crazy young.
Not that okay. More riches for damn French. Love to see that. Shout out to my boy Dane and Gima, Kofi kid, getting out there. And being on the first team middle blockers for the French league. He's really crushed, and his numbers on TikTok too has been fantastic. What about, you want to talk about the Stoogery Awards? Let's go over the Stoogery Awards.
I love the Stoogery Awards.
All right. In Italy, Alberto Giuliani talking bad on his team publicly after a loss, sitting in 8th place. Okay, not the greatest one. Thomas Samuvulo.
Giuliani is the coach of Modena, by the way, so he's not in a position to be piping up right now. So my son gets the Stoogery Award for the Plusliga. Tough one. By the way, we need to give the namesakes their respect. The Stoogery Awards on the men's side are named after Nicolas Vives. That is the prestigious Nicolas Vives Award for Excellence in Stoogery. And on the women's side, that would be the Davide Mazzanti Award for Excellence in Stoogery. Those two morons, they reign eternal as far as their mistakes. Let's see, what else do we have here?
GTEX lost to Navigo at home sets in 4, man, whatever. Galatasaray coach Umut Sakirs bickering with the fans in the arena after his team got dominated by Ziraat twice in 4 days. He is also the current Effeler coach. That's great.
Turkish men's national team. Great. Yeah, really good hire. Good job. Yeah, Galatasaray did get stomped twice in a week by Ziraat Bank, and they're about to get stomped by them again tomorrow in CEV Cup. So tough one there. Tough one for my boy Jean Patry, who I love so much, but he's the only good thing going on for Galatasaray. Also, what's Friedrichshafen lost to Unterhaching? That's embarrassing. That is
embarrassing. No, it
so
shouldn't.
Good award there. Well done. On the women's side, MVPs Antropova for the Lega Volley Femminile, Marina Markova for the Sultanar Ligi. I like that choice a lot. Rosa Maria in Japan, and then Julita Piaseczka for Bielsko-Biała in the Tauron Liga, which I have not watched any of, so I don't know any of the storylines, but she's a Polish outside hitter that I have not heard of before. Hopefully she has national team potential.
Yeah, hopefully. I guess we'll have to see. I mean, I'm sure she does if she's been the best player so far. And our Polish people in the chat know a lot about Polish volleyball.
Of course,
more than we will ever know.
Yeah, they're
More
very
than
knowledgeable. Scandici's management gets the Stoogery Award in the Lega Volley Femminile. Both
love that.
roster construction and the whole Antigua thing. That was a mess. So was
That was best.
the THY Zé Roberto. That saga was also a mess. So those
Yeah.
two are pretty well documented, man. There were a couple others that I thought were funny. Some of the worst transfer awards I thought were funny. Osmani Wantarena to Monza is a really bad one. Gregor Ropret to Resovia was a really bad one.
That one sucked because I thought on paper it was actually going to be a good
Me
move.
too. I mean, I never thought that Wantarena was going to be a good signing, but I did think that Ropret was going to be good for Resovia, and not so much. Rado Parapunov to Gießen is been listed as the worst transfer. I didn't even know that was a thing because now Rado found his way to Skra Belchatov somehow. I don't know about that. Worst transfer on the women's side. I'm not familiar with any of these. So yeah, give these a look. Anyone who's listening or who's interested, see if your favorite player, favorite team, favorite moment are represented by the community. We appreciate you all for putting this together. Was interested that Adis Lagumja got second team opposite in Italy over Ferry Regers. Coin flip.
Yeah.
I did look at the numbers. Lagumja's efficiency is better than Regers, but Regers has way more volume, like over 1 point per set more in terms of production. So difference there. Yeah, this is good. This is a good exercise. We will also not next week because we're going to take the week off, but the following week, which will be our last show of the year, we're going to do our top 10 players of the year, of the calendar year 2024, and we want the community's thoughts on that too. So we're not going to do like first and second teams, anything. We just want 10 players total, 10 men, 10 women, the best calendar year 2024. So that is something that the Discord can work on over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I will. There may be another one, a more official one being announced just very shortly.
Yes,
possibly.
I think there will, but it's just a chance for community engagement. So if you want your voice,
So
to be
no,
heard,
you don't need, like, you don't have the next couple of weeks. As I'm saying, is that those announcements are starting on the 22nd, so you have until Sunday. So if you guys want to do Discord awards for top 10. And also first team, second team for the season year of 2024. First team, second team, we're going to wait until the beginning of 2025. But yeah, our top 10 unofficially starts on Sunday.
Are these Volleyball World social media plans?
I cannot confirm nor deny. The man upstairs has to confirm lists.
Throwback to 2021. Oh my god, I think that list in my head really kind of like kickstarted our show.
It was where the outrage started.
Yeah,
it's one of the first episodes that we really started going in. So yeah, this time I unfortunately would be responsible. If any list does come out, I would be partly directly responsible, and actually so would you. So yeah, it'll
don't worry,
be.
we'll do better than the 2021 list. My god.
I mean, I will say right now that the women's side is way easier to pick than the men's side. The men's side is very difficult. You can make arguments for a lot of different players, all from the same country.
You can make arguments for a lot of people on both sides. I put together my women's list today, and I struggled, especially with the order. Like weighing the Olympic Games versus all the club leagues and all the different tournaments that there were, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to discuss those lists. We'll spend time on the show when we do it 2 weeks from now, like right before the new year. We will spend some time on that. So get in the Volleyball Source Discord if you're interested. The link is in the description, as is the link to this spreadsheet for the midseason awards. So thank you very much to our community, as always, for being so active and for having educated opinions and getting them in and getting your voices heard. So we like giving you chances to do that. So we appreciate you. But Everett, it has been a 2-hour show. We need to get the hell out of here.
I want to go watch what's that witch movie right now? Wicked.
Oh yeah, you're gonna go see it in theaters?
We might. We're thinking about it.
Sweet. Speaking of things that are long, did you know that movie is only the first act of the play? They're doing an entire second movie. It's coming out next year.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I was kind of
Okay.
annoyed when I learned that because I like Wicked, but I didn't want
Did
to
you
sit through 2.5 hours just to watch the first act.
Two and a half.
Two and a half hours just for the first act of the play.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Yeah,
so.
that's a tough one. That's a pretty good cue to get the hell out of here. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, y'all. No show next week. We'll be back right before the new year. Everett, anything else for the people?
No. Actually, I have to confirm. I might do a live watch along during Penn State, Nebraska tomorrow.
Oh, cool.
With Key Michael.
Oh, very cool. I hope that works out.
So
I will be playing volleyball tomorrow at that time. But then as soon as my league is over, I'll be making everyone in the bar we go to on Thursdays turn the game on, and I'll have all sorts of volleyball players with me, so that will not be an issue. Yes, I still dislike potatoes. Thank you for asking.
tragic. All right, Merry Christmas, everyone. We love you all. Have a great day and a few days, and we will see you whenever. Bye.